Okay, I see 2 votes for 6 and 1 vote for 2. So you guys are going to send me through what I consider to be the worst room of the game. We'd have to go through it at some point, so you know.
I want to go through door 6.
Junpei flipped open the piece of paper. It read Junpei, door 6. Of course it did. He'd written it after all.
That's a problem.
June spoke barely above a whisper, but they all knew what she
None
said.
of these teams will be able to go through the doors they want.
Bye, huh?
Clover and I chose door 1.
Lotus and I chose door 2.
That's not enough people to open a numbered door, however.
The digital routes don't match up either.
We've got similar problems. Junpei and I want to go through door 6, but our digital route is 5. If we're gonna open that door, we need a 1.
Damn, what are we gonna do now?
What are we going to do?
Junpei crossed his arms and did his best to put his thoughts in order. The others followed suit, but with little result. Eventually, Clover broke the silence.
Why don't Seven and Lotus go through door 1? With me.
Her face was cold and flat, as was her voice, but her logic was sound. Seven and Lotus looked at each other. 7 plus 8 plus 4 equaled 19. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equaled 1. The first problem resolved, Ace spoke up.
What about me?
Isn't that obvious? Wasn't one of the teams just complaining that they didn't have a 1?
You mean I should join Santa's team?
Yes.
Clover nodded, her face still cold and emotionless. Her attitude and posture could not have been more different than the energetic girl of only a few hours ago. And yes, 6-1, I think 2 only got your vote. That's it. No one seemed ready to contradict her. Her response was understandable, given the horrible situation in which she found herself, but even so...
I understand. I'll go through door 6 then. If we do as Clover has suggested, we can all pass through a numbered door and no one will be left behind. This seems to be the most reasonable solution.
3 plus 6 plus 5 plus 1 equals 15. 1 plus 5 equals 6.
7, Lotus. What do you guys think?
I don't have a problem with it.
Me either.
Alright then, we're good to go.
See you later.
Wait, Clover! Don't move on your own!
Oh, I'll be going too then.
Yeah, be careful.
We should get going as well.
At last, Junpei and the other 6 had managed to separate themselves into 2 teams. Clover, 7, and Lotus headed to A deck, where door 1 was, near the main staircase. Junpei, June, Ace, and Santa, however, took the elevator to E deck. The ride to E deck was a silent one.
This is E deck.
There should be a door at the end of the hall.
Alright, let's go.
Santa's words jolted them into action, and they stepped out of the elevator into a long, straight hallway. Before long, they arrived in front of door 6.
Here it is. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Then let's get to it.
One by one, they put their palms over the red. With the soft electronic noise, it authenticated each of them. The door opened, and all at once the 4 of them leapt through it.
Hey!
I found it! It's right there!
Fortunately, the dead was located easily enough. This one had been placed quite close to the door they'd entered through. They gathered around it quickly, and hurriedly placed their palms on it for authentication, one by one.
It stopped.
Yes, it stopped.
The countdown had ceased, but Junpei's heart was still pounding in his chest, like a frantic, thunderous drum. It felt as though it might shake itself up and out his throat.
Whew. I don't believe I'll ever get used to that.
I'm not sure it's something I'd want to get used to. We should finish this game before imminent death becomes a normal thing.
You got that right. Once I'm out of this hellhole, I'm taking a nice long vacation.
I agree.
With that, the doom and gloom from before was done, and the mood returned somewhat lighter.
All right, let's go.
With that attempt at good humor, Junpei took a deep breath and began to walk. He jogged down the stairs at the end of the hallway and found himself staring at a large door.
This door looks heavy.
But it's not locked. I'm opening it.
He took hold of the bar that served as his doorknob and shoved it down. The room beyond stopped him in his tracks. It was gargantuan and made entirely of metal. None of the accents or wood or tile he'd seen in the rest of the ship. This room was purely functional, but utterly tremendous.
Whoa, what the hell is this?
Santa got out a few words before awe stole the rest of them. The rest were too stunned to offer anything more than gasps.
This has to be the biggest room so far. The ceiling is pretty high, too.
Huh. Could be 2 stories, maybe even more.
This space could be utilizing the entire length of the ship.
What's that huge Kamaboko-looking building in the middle?
June pointed to the massive building in the center.
Kamaboko? Well, I guess that's as good of a description of it as any.
Junpei and the others were standing on scaffolding that crisscrossed the whole area. The proper term was catwalk, Junpei thought, although that didn't seem particularly important.
I see stairs, so we may as well head over to them.
Yeah, but this section's barely wide enough to fit one person.
You're right.
Nearby was a long iron staircase that made its way, eventually, to the floor beneath them. I do not know what a Kamaboko is.
You can't even tell the shape when you're this close.
Let's check out the other side, too.
They moved around toward the opposite side of the massive building, following the catwalk. They hadn't said much as they walked, but they approached the building. Ace suddenly spoke up.
This looks to be the steam engine room.
The steam engine room?
Yes, that thing that looks like a cross-section of a mushroom is the boiler. You see the 3 round doors near the bottom? Coal is put into those and burned, which heats the water, producing steam.
Fish cake. Okay.
The same thing that drives a steam engine. This one is simply somewhat larger.
I see.
It doesn't appear to be running right now.
All right, let's split up.
Then all of a sudden, Junpei heard a noise behind him. He turned, just in time to see June collapse to her knees.
Hey, what's wrong? Are you all right?
He dashed toward her and wrapped his arm around her shoulders to steady her.
Hey, June.
It was then that he noticed.
Jumpy.
You... Oh, you're really warm. Is your fever coming back?
Yes. Yes. It probably is. But I'm fine. Please, don't worry about me. I just need to rest. And I'll be fine.
Her voice was weak and forced, and it said a great deal more than her words did.
Okay, here, sit down, careful.
Junpei carried her to the nearest wall and propped her up against it. She let her head fall back against the wall as if she no longer had the strength to support it, and drew a ragged breath.
Thank you.
Her eyes were empty, as if she was having trouble focusing them, and even speaking seemed difficult for her. Junpei felt his hand ball itself into a fist and clenched tight, his knuckles whitening. Why does she have a fever in the first place? Good question. He had to find a way out, and quickly. He turned and looked at Ace and Santa in turn.
Ace, Santa.
Yes.
Right.
They might not have shared the depth of his emotion, but they certainly shared his concern.
All right, let's get started. Hang in there, June. I'm gonna get you out of here real soon.
She managed a small nod before leaning back to rest her head on the wall. So here we go with... I hate this room. A square hole with rectangular holes behind it. Yep, terminals for some sort of connector. The button is glowing orange. Doesn't do anything right now, though. Why no Junpei portrait? Because you're looking through his eyes. Probably here to move coal from place to place. Comes from over there. And then the belt carries it down the tunnel and out here. So if the conveyor belt was moving, the coal would most certainly come out here. Pillar goes up towards the ceiling. Conveyor belt not conveying anything. A tunnel goes all the way across the ship. This gear is rusty, but it looks like it's still pretty sturdy. A golden gear. Oh, who knows? Doesn't look like it was always golden. Well, then I imagine it was prepared especially for this game. Huge golden gear that might be important. Looks like there's a door over here. The belt over there must deliver the coal, which is then picked up and thrown into this door. The door appears to be welded shut, however. Okay. A huge bronze gear. This has to be important. Gear's rusty, still pretty sturdy. Another door in the side of the tunnel that is also welded shut. A huge oven for the boiler. 3 open areas in it. Each open area has a gear. There we go. And we have a silver gear. You think it's made of pure silver? Nah. Silver's way too soft to use for a gear. Well, so is gold. Shouldn't have got your hopes up. What are you thinking? You'd haul this back? 7 might be able to carry, yes. Gear's rusty, still sturdy. Conveyor belt runs into a sort of arched tunnel. Bunch of wooden boxes over by the wall that have nothing in them. Pair of wooden boxes here, tied up. Nothing in them, though. Some kind of snowman secret meeting. Just bags full of sand. Use them as counterweight when you're lifting something with a pulley system. And you're too serious. There was a pillar like this on the other side. What's this? Given its placement, this must unlock the door to the left. It's a weird indentation on the top of this thing. Think that means you have to insert something in here? I would imagine so. Thick iron door blocking our way. That is probably the exit. Oh man, I can't believe I missed something so important. That's so important. Look at those stairs. Look at them carefully. That gap. That height. That angle. It's perfect. Perfect? Perfect for what? Whatever, just bring Clover here, right now. Tell her she needs to walk up and down those stairs. How about we tell Lotus to slap you? These two columns are different from the others. Lights are red. There are a whole bunch of lights here. Most of them are yellow except for the two columns on the right. Sliders down. Guess Ace feels like giving it a try. Nothing. It won't move at all. Nothing. Yeah. We ain't going to get anywhere with that pile of boxes. What the hell's in them anyway? That's the door we came in. One of the doors on the furnace. There's an A on it. There's a circular wheel in the center of the door. And let's twist it. It's noisy, but it opens. And it's totally pitch black in there. We should go in here. Looks just like the door we went into. Where are we? Other side of the room, yes? Which would put us directly above the conveyor belt as the cat tries to scratch down the door to get in. At any rate, we should keep moving. There's a great deal we've yet to investigate. Stairs stretch from the catwalk to the boiler. There are a whole bunch of boxes in my way. I can't get through. Anyway, looks like that's a pipe. Looks like the bottom connects to that conveyor belt housing. The coal must come out of this pipe on the conveyor belt. In other words, there must be a great deal of coal in that pipe. There are a number of boxes on the catwalk. I don't think we can go over there. And we went through to door B. Takes us over here. Alright, let's give this wheel a spin. Huh? That's weird. I don't feel any resistance. And the wheel just came off in our hands. Some pegs on the back that look like they go into the holes on the winch. job, genius. You broke it. I didn't break it. It broke all by itself. A hand-operated winch. The wheel it once had is now in my hand. See if I can get it back on. A couple of posts on the back of it that look like they fit in the holes on the winch, but it's no good. Little shafts are too small for this big hole. It's like throwing a hot dog down a hallway, to be honest. If that's the case, then this wheel wasn't originally part of this winch. Then that means... And more boxes blocking the way. And the doors on the furnace. There's an A on it. There's a C on that one. We haven't gone in door C yet. The hand-operated winch. No wheel to turn. Oh yeah. I've got the wheel I pulled off the other winch, don't I? Let's see if it fits. It's a perfect fit, like they were made for each other. Not shaky at all. Good. Should be able to turn this now. The wooden box under the catwalk. It's hanging from the rope on the winch, isn't it? It looks like there's some sort of device in the box. I'm not sure what it is. At any rate, you might as well turn the wheel now. This wheel only turns to the left. Do you see why I'm not enjoying this room very much?
I believe the box has reached the floor.
Yeah.
He stuck his head out over the side of the catwalk and looked down. This room is nothing but going back and forth through the catwalk. There's very little puzzle in this room. In fact, there's pretty much no real puzzle in this room until the end. But it's all just going back and forth across the room and getting, potentially mixed up. Especially if you don't notice the first time that you've gone across the room, you'll think you're right back where you were. So yeah, I just don't like the design of this room or this whole idea here. The box that had only recently hung just below the catwalk sat on the floor. It had come to rest near the end of the tunnel that covered the conveyor belt. This isn't even backtracking. This doesn't get to count as backtracking, really.
June's down over by there.
Junpei could see her, still leaning against the wall, as if she'd barely had the strength to sit up. Even from so far away, it was not difficult to see that she had not improved. He almost thought he could see heat rising from her body.
She doesn't seem to be improving.
Ace's expression was inscrutable, but he'd said what they'd all been thinking.
Well, of course not. She's not going to just get better right away.
I'm not science
It'll
boy,
take
no.
time.
My head is not on fire. He tried desperately to convince himself that what he'd said was true.
What could be causing this, I wonder? Illness, perhaps?
Nah, it's gotta be exhaustion.
Santa's response was confident and certain.
She gets dropped into some weird-ass ship, forced to play some messed-up game. If you think about it, it's a lot weirder that we aren't freaking out just like her, you know?
So you're saying we're abnormal?
Yeah. We're just running around this room, solving all these puzzles like it's just business as usual. How the hell could you call that normal? We're just guinea pigs.
Santa snorted in disgust.
A guinea pig? You mean like a lab rat? You mean we're being used for some sort of experiment? Is that what you're saying?
Dunno. But it does seem like a possibility, you know?
They stood there for a few more minutes, no one speaking, until Santa turned and walked away from the winch. Junpei and Ace followed him. B took us to the winch. He takes us back down here. Pair of boxes here. Which one was it? There it is. The control panel for something. Looks kind of like a face. Some kind of machine. Maybe control panel? Maybe this hole is where the control panel goes. Oh, there's only one way to find out. In you go. Everything looks okay, but what do we do now? Why don't you press the button? The orange one? Yep. Alright. Pushing. And all sorts of lights are lighting up on this thing. Ah, I think I just heard something turn on. What's that? What happened? Look, the conveyor belt's moving. Well, I guess it's done moving. There's still a bunch of coal on the belt, though. Looks like a bunch of it got dumped off at the end of the belt in that wooden box where we found the control panel. Coal. Coal, huh? Now we have a box filled with the coal. Wooden box full of coal. The only one thing we can do now. Eat it! Give it to Santa to leave for naughty children. Oh wait, that'd be us. A winch, rope, and hook. Okay, now where was the thing I needed to actually access? Nothing still happens. And none of these others are going to work. I'm missing a scene somewhere. I gotta remember where to click to find that scene. Yeah, I didn't think so. Where was it? Dang it! Because there's some place to use this coal. There we go. There we go. Hold it, let us put coal in the furnace, and maybe we get some coal in there and set it on fire. There we go. Man can dream. Yep. And then we'll drive something else, am I correct? In other words, you want to generate enough pressure with the steam to power the turbine, and drive the steam engine, right? Yeah, I guess that's the gist of it. Yeah, the furnace is enormous. We're gonna need a whole hell of a lot more coal than this. And she wants to help. Yeah, she doesn't look too good. Yep, a lot of work. And that should be sufficient. Right, now we just gotta get it lit. Hand me your matches. What makes you think I have them? I see. And how are we gonna light it? Perhaps there's a device nearby that allows us to remotely ignite it? And now everything's green. And now everything springs into action. We have a gold disc. A bronze disc. And the silver disc. The gears only spun so far. Then they caught and never spun again. The end. Looks like this thing unlocks door. Yep, we're putting them in the wrong places. When the disc is clicked, it rotates. When the white arrow is clicked, the discs are switched. Please note when the discs are switched, the angles for the discs are reset. So, let's see. We want those two switched. I believe those two switched. To form the big red star. And the room is done.